Welcome to the center of light. This is the goal. It's always the goal is to be crystal clear. When we're clear of mind, then our light, the Yah, the God, power that lives in everyone, can become so effulgent we engage our divine status as children of the Most High God. Welcome to the center of light grace. The great fall, then and again. Babylon is losing its footing. Babylon is falling. Babylon is losing its footing. And Babylon is beginning to fall. Hello, Karen Cox. Kwame. What's up, brother? June. Hello, Junebug. Darlene. Anna. Danielle. Welcome, everyone, to Center of Light. Let's see who's here. Kelly Curtis is on the YouTubeage. Center of Light grace. Falling from grace. The great fall. Yes, we're going to talk about that aspect of it as well. But we're going to look at our own life and where we have fallen. And are we going to choose to get up and do something about it? Dust off your bootay. Collect yourself. Hold your head high and move forward. Inward, upward, forward, toward. Center of light grace. The great fall, then and again. Babylon is losing its footing. Babylon is beginning to tumble. The Tower of Babel. All the noise. Yak, 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 yak. Buy this, buy that, buy this, buy that. Do this, don't do that. You better not. You should, you shouldn't. The Tower of Babel is beginning to fall. Hello, Rena. The Great Fall. Then and again. I'm going to talk about some things current in the world. There's going to be lots of metaphors. But they are literal metaphors. You on an infinite journey to absolutely nowhere. Nowhere. Hello, Carol. And being quarantined in your house is part of that possibility. Junebug says, ugh, it's not streaming for me. Don't know if my internet connection or the stream. I think I'm looking at my stream. Everything seems to be fine. I am pushing a lot of technology. 1920 by 1080, so it could be your phone, your connection, a little bit of both. Meet me on YouTube, June, if you can. Thank you. I appreciate your support and your presence. Tonight is Center of Light Grace. Those who have fallen from grace. All of us. So it gives us a little more compassion as we look around the world without pointing the finger of blame, but pointing the finger to single out that which is not of the common good for all people. It's calling a spade, pegging the knucklehead. What are you doing? There's many of them in the world. I made a post about this. Hello, Alyssa. Hello, Jimmy Mancini. I made a meme post about this a few days ago. Many people loved it. Quite a few didn't like it so much. All I said was, I posed a question. When you call out China, do you mean the bad governmental people who live in the country, or do you mean the country and its denizens? Because you need to be careful when you say China out of blame or pegging a bad person. You're clumping in the whole beautiful country and its landscape and all the innocent denizens. Shouldn't we be a little more selective about our word choice? Someone said, I don't have time to monitor all my words. Well, exactly. You don't. You don't. And it creates trouble. Potential trouble. China and all of its beautiful denizens. There are bad people everywhere. Good and bad people everywhere. I could find some bad people right here in the good old United States. Think of one. Have someone come to your mind that makes you cringe. When you call that person out for the wrongdoing, do you say, America? Or do you say John Doe? You don't. You don't say America. You single out the person and call it for what it is. So likewise, we should do the same with China. Respect these people. Some people of the Chinese descent are being attacked, and they're Americans. Everyone falls from grace. The great fall, then and again. We're also going to be speaking about the great fall, Archangel Michael, demons, if you will. Whatever we call them is not important. What is important is Babylon is falling. We've heard the clarion calling. Babylon is falling. Don't let them fool you about vaccinations. It's not going to happen. How do I know that? I know that. I could throw up a riddle right now. For example, if there was a situation in the world, whoever's world, if there was a situation that in, out, up, down, all about, no one can go without vaccination to save the race of whatever said planet, it would be a forced vaccination. Because you have to. You just have to. If they give you a choice, it ain't that important. You think they want people going around infected and not being vaccinated? It's not going to happen. Definitely in America. How do I know that? Recall the American Revolution. Militia. Do you think these good old boys and these rednecks and these Americans and these Texans, you think they're going to get vaccinated lightly? I don't think so. It's not going to happen. Hello, Danielle. Hello, Sonny. Hello, Jack Brewer. Bridget. It ain't going to happen. It's simply just not going to happen. If something came down to that, the place we know as America, the sleeping giant, will awaken. It won't happen. Welcome, Center of Light Grace. The Great Fall. What is that all about? When did it take place? What does it all mean? Is it happening again? Or are they the same event? That'll really get you go. The Great Fall, then and again. Are they two different events? Or they're one soul experience? Hello, Bonnie. Hello, Tracy. Pretty big question, isn't it? But it happened so long ago. Let's say it's real, not metaphorical. Which I think it happens to be both. Some way or another. That this great fall happened, it seems so many light eons ago. That would be a true statement. But something is happening right now. Babylon is falling. We have all tripped and fell. And we got the metaphorical skinned knees locked up in the house to prove it. But good news is afoot, y'all. Today, they opened up Florida's beaches. And I just read, next week they're going to open up the entire state of Texas. Some people think, oh my God, they shouldn't let us out. This is a bad thing. They're trying to do this to get voted. That's not true at all. Do your research. Don't buy into the mainstream noise. You have to first understand truly what a virus is. It's not a little entity that falls on you when someone sneezes or coughs and you get sick. This is all an internal system when cells start to pop and explode and release toxins. What could possibly be doing that? Junebug made it to YouTube. What's up, Jimmy Mancini, guitar playing, singing boy? All right, let's get down with some presentation. Immunity means inner strength, does it not? In the legal system, when you're given immunity, you have a strength within the system. So, bodily wise, immunity is having an inner strength. Walking cocky, upright, straight up, va. It's a posture. It's a disposition. It's an attitude. Hello, Rhonda. Have you fallen with all this? Have you fallen? Are you falling? Have you fallen anytime in your life? What do you do when you fall? From The Divine Principle, my bestseller, I had this experience many years ago when I was sleeping, taken out of my body by Satya Sai Baba. And I found myself in a hotel room with my deceased sister and Satya Sai Baba. And they're sitting on the bed. And Sai Baba says, Keith, why don't you come over here and sit next to your sister and I? So in this dreamscape, I do just that. And my sister, deceased sister, tells me this. She says, Keith, this was in 1996 that I wrote this, but I had the... No, excuse me. This was 1998. I started The Divine Principle in 96. So this was a couple years into writing the book. My deceased sister tells me, 1998, the true agenda of many governments and governmental figures worldwide will be brought to light. The United States government, the greatest country of all with the greatest form of government, will suffer a major breakdown. Its present legislative branch will collapse, and it will take many years to rebuild it. Because of this restoration process, many old guard politicians will be forced out. Your new lawmakers will not make law per se, but rather will introduce you to divine law and teach you how to fall into flow with it. The establishment of the divine order is commencing as I speak. It's all taking place right now. The whole system is collapsing. Get out of the system. It will collapse on top of your head. So the best way we can understand anything of a Luciferian nature, reptilian nature, draconian nature, demonic nature, whatever is your way to see that stuff, we have to first understand our own Luciferianism. Doesn't sound good, does it? Makes you responsible. Maybe that's why it doesn't sound good to you. You have to understand your own demons, your own Luciferian system. If you don't know what the color green is, how can you peg what green is? If you don't know your own evils and come to terms with them and rise above them when you have fallen from grace, how can we truly understand the great fall from gazillions of light years back to the one that's happening right now? You can't. You can't make sense of it. You won't be able to make sense of it until you see your own self who has fallen and your misdeeds, but has been given the grace to brush your ass off and get back up, stand up straight, and walk forward. You will never understand it. Maybe it doesn't sound important to you. It's pretty important to me. It sounds like my history, our history. The true story. The true story of leaving the Godhead, all of us, consciously, and descended. We didn't fall. We, all of us, every single human soul descended here. We didn't fall. Until some got lost in the descension process. And for them, it began to be a falling. And so the way they can remember in their fear, not understanding fear, none of us ever had it before. It made us want something, which is everything we knew, because we had everything we wanted. And so those selfish ones who were acting out of fear naturally grabbed for everything they could possibly can to right themselves in their falling. That's all they knew. Some of them got lost in the whirlpool, so to speak. Some of them are still lost in the whirlpool that I speak. Just look out and around. You see it everywhere. You see the Luciferians, demons, the bad extraterrestrials, the reptilians and draconians. And we can go down the category. Hello, Claire. Hello, Sana. And we can keep pointing out all these bad people. We can follow the mainstream media or the not so mainstream media. A lot of people's intuition in this moment in time is very heightened. And they're clustering. And they're understanding that so-and-so who's pushing for these particular policies does not have everyone's best interest in mind. Welcome to the book of the Bible called Revelation, or the Apocalypse, which is Revelation. Do you see what's happening? Don't ever claim you absolutely know. It's good to anchor yourself in your conviction, but your conviction can convict you to a life sentence. You gotta be careful, really careful. This is not a time for tomfoolery, jacking around, or if you want to spiritually take this opportunity to expand into this cosmic 26,000, give or take, whatever-ish window that's open for all of us. So we don't fall, trip and fall and bump our head. We want to understand what it's like to fall. And we can do that by seeing the system crumbling. Babylon is falling. Look closely. You're not going to see Babylon as an out there thing that's falling. It's your own old world paradigm that is crumbling and tumbling down. When you see that and you heal that part of your own self that is collapsing within you, hello, quarantine. When you take the time to truly see that your own old world paradigm has collapsed, it will help you best get a leg up to step forward. Because in your healing your fallen self, the faster it's going to exponentiate, into the greater is going to exponentiate the old world Babylon to finally fall and rest in peace and pieces. If you want to hasten the falling of a system that doesn't care about you, you have to find the parts of you that has not cared about you. And in so doing, when you erect your own temple, erect your Va. Yah is God, heart, will, power. Na is the linear mind when used in balance, reason, discernment, right, judgment. I don't mean judgment without pointing a finger and criticizing. I mean making a judgment call, discernment, and Va is the backbone. So when we upright ourselves and we're in our Va, you don't live your life like this, slouched. It's not good for you, man. It's not. Stand up. What's the worst that can happen? That you feel better and you take charge of your life? And when you see that you have fallen yourself many, many times, you got cuts, scars, and broken bones all over your body to prove it. Not only do we hasten the demise of Babylon, but in such forgiveness, a forgiving of something, they get the opportunity through our grace to be exalted as well. Reminds me of the prodigal son in the Bible. But Dad, Tommy went to the city with all these prostitutes and spent all the money at the casino, and now he's back because he has nothing left. And the father says, boy, go get the fatted calf. Your brother's home. It can be very tough to live in that model. Forgiveness is playing in the arena of being adept. True forgiveness is playing in the arena of becoming an adept, an ascetic, a yogi. Center of light grace tonight. The great fall from grace. Gazillions upon gazillions on a number we can't even possibly imagine. Many beings that descended to earth made it. Even back in the 1800s to 1200s before Christ. Now, your grandchild that's supposed to be born next week, it's all a dissension. The na aspect of the mind that's gone awry and lost its way sees everything from there, here now, to there. Convincingly. That's part of the fall of Babylon. That's no longer going to exist. These two extreme points are coming to a center point. The 0 point. Zero. Nothing. No thing. God. And when we understand that your grandparents were not really born before you, it doesn't work that way. We're all descended together. It plays out in this fashion in a way we understand. When you start to get into the higher realms of spirit, that clock begins to dissipate and dissipate and dissipate until there's no even idea that could possibly exist of something down here that we actually call a clock. It's not of the vibratory frequency. It's not part of the graceful ambiance of eternity and infinity. It just simply isn't. So in the descent, the great descent, we all chose to leave the omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent Godhead. We didn't really leave it. We're still there. We're still here. It's still here. Spirit is all those three omnis. We're just not present of it. And what helps us to become present of it is that very forgiveness, that very center of light grace that we offer those in a great fall in life. I'll be right back. We'll get down. I got a lot of reading we'll do from the Divine Principle. We're going to start talking about some of this stuff. The fun stuff. I like it. What happened in the Great Fall from an angelic point of view to a dark agenda point of view? What is the relevance of that now? Are we seeing the elephant in the room? And wherever we go from there. Welcome to Center of Light tonight. Quarantine is lifting. It may be a soft quarantine. We're winning. We are winning. I'll tell you how. Maybe not just yet. Strangely, through our separating, we're unified. Wrap your heart around that because your head won't understand it. In our separation, we have become unified. Hence, the acceleration and the falling of Babylon. Lavender Soul, we'll be right back. Welcome to Center of Light. You're loved beyond measure.
time to make, to promise yourself you'll celebrate. There's a time to love, and a time to trust, and a time to know you are loved. Time to know you are loved. So let the love of God on you, it's always been that way. It's time to celebrate what you are. It's time to celebrate who you are. It's time to celebrate that you are.
Welcome back to Center of Light, where my aim, dead-eye y'all, is to always be clear, so that when we have clear mind and we push it with our divine fire, we climb just a little bit higher, y'all. We get back into grace. Tonight we're speaking about Center of Light grace, the great fall, then and again. From my bestseller, The Divine Principle, Spirit and I having a dialogue. This took place over a course of 8 years. In meditation almost every day from noon till 6 at night, or sometimes 9 at night. I wanted something. This pertains to today. Hello, Peggy. Hello, Kim. Hello, Claire. I said Claire. I don't know if she's still here. Thank you for sending me your inbox stuff, girl. All right, my dialogue with Spirit about today. This took place in 1996 to 97, 98. Spirit says, know that I do support the notion of leadership, but from what I have seen thus far, the track records of many of those whom you have elected have been poor. Yes, there have been moments in history when true leaders have appeared, but just as they were on their way to making positive changes, they were assassinated, leaving their visions to die on the vine. My question to all of you is, will you continue to follow leaders who care only about themselves, or will you accept leadership from the one who cares only about the welfare of humanity? And I say to Spirit, please tell me how we can make this happen. First, do not allow what has been taking place to continue. That's an exclamation point. It is your divine birthright to rise up. We all fall. To rise up against any leadership if it does not set your feet on a course towards a transcendent consciousness. This may sound like I am supporting rebellion, but that is not entirely true, because I do not support upheaval and anarchy, but I do support you doing whatever it takes to uproot any and all weeds that could stifle the potential of your Eden. Second, when you seek leaders, make certain that they are of a divine calling and are not someone you vote for just because they seem to be the best ones running. Unlike the leaders of the present system, divine leaders will not even hint to you that they are the ones in charge. They will govern righteously and be of service to all. Third, make certain your chosen leaders have a direct connection to the divine so that in any situation they can move to the good by praying to God, what do I do? If you're not choosing leaders with these qualifications, Why do you even bother to vote? And I say in my naivete, to try to make some kind of difference, the Spirit says, psst, I will let you in on a little secret, Keith. Sometimes your votes are not even a factor. Many will try to convince you that the election process is a legitimate one. But do not be fooled. Election results are often determined long before you step in the voting booth. Some may dispute this, but there is no point. What do you think happened in the 2000 presidential election? I'm not really sure. That unwieldy political fiasco came to light when the divine intervened and exposed it. That's what's happening to now. Babylon is falling. Back to basics we go. The kingdom of God cometh not with observation. Now shall they say, lo here, or lo there, for behold, the kingdom of God is within you. Luke 17:20-21. This is how we understand who we are, so we can finally dust off our fallen in the dirt britches and get up gracefully. And this absolutely pertains to now. Can you understand, Keith, why people are not willing to change their thinking? Like you, mostly live with deeply rooted beliefs reinforced from their past and past lives. More than likely, this explanation does not surprise you because you know what it has taken for you to move through your own I am separate from God, quote, belief. But the fact remains, for the world to actually become the kingdom written about in this passage of scripture that I just read, everyone must do the spiritual requisite work. And here's where we are. Hello, Angela Burton, singing lady. This is going on today. This was vested in 97. The good news is that the truth process has already begun. Babylon is falling, y'all. It is not difficult to find malfeasance of all kinds revealing itself. Governments are being exposed for what they do. Officials of some religious denominations now face challenges because they have chosen to sweep the clergymen's misdeeds under the rug. Schools are full of too little learning and too much violence. And the economy, well, it seems that many of the institutions that the world assumed were stable are showing some definite signs of breaking down. Spirit continues. I tell you again that if humanity were in alignment with the divine will, it would not be in its present condition. But rest assured, Keith, this condition will be corrected early in the new millennium. That is... Be rest assured, Keith, this condition will be corrected early in the new millennium. That is when the entire world will find itself submerged in absolute God change. And that is when it will become mandatory for everyone to question everything you believe to be true. As you all meditate upon the enigma of God, you will have no choice but to re-examine what you think to be divine. When everyone efforts to replace their concepts of right and wrong, we all fall from grace. Even those people trying to lead us into madness right now. When everyone efforts to replace their concepts of right and wrong with the deliberate intent to live peacefully at all costs, that alone will help the world to regain its equilibrium. All right, now we're going to move into this segment here. We were once telepathic. Hello, Joe. We were once telepathic. When we were consciously with the Godhead. We're still with the Godhead. Without it, we couldn't exist. We're just not aware of it. But we were once telepathic. In our descent to earth, some of them got lost. Some people, souls, got lost in the swirling and twirling of it all. And they forgot. Do you remember what it's like coming through the birth canal? I bet if you think about it, You probably have some recollection of, it was a trip. Speaking of trip, people do trip and fall. Individually, as well as groups. It's okay to be mad at Bill Gates. That son of a bitch wants to put some nanobots in my body. Okay, get mad. Get really mad. Just get as mad as you possibly can. And when you're done with it, just be done with it. Put it aside. You vented out what you want, what you had inside of you. Because as long as you stick yourself with that dagger, you're going to be wounded and continually wound yourself. So finally, look at the dagger, because you're so addicted to it. Give yourself one last drag of that cigarette and inflict all kinds of nonsense on you that if that's what you need to do. And then simply put it down. Move forward by moving inward, upward, and you do that towards something. We all fall from grace. How do we get back into grace? Guess what? You forgive those who have fallen from grace. Not only do you lift yourself, which is the motivating factor of why you want to do it in the first place. As a byproduct, they go up with you. It's a prodigal son. So let's get into some angels and some demons, y'all. We were once telepathic. Some of us are regaining that from the divine principle. I asked Spirit, will you tell me a little about telepathy? Spirit says, Keith, you were once quite telepathic, meaning all of us. Now, as you write this book, you have begun to recover this ability. Indeed, not only you, but everyone. Everyone used to be in a conscious state of omniscience until the time when you left home. Notice it didn't say when you fell. When we left. We made a conscious choice to separate, to come down here, to create that thing up there, which is eternal. We never wanted to leave until we were presented with a very small idea. So small we can't even comprehend how small this idea is, because it came from the source, the 0 point of creation itself. It was just a simple whim. That would be a good word, actually. A whim. Not I have to because I'm God, and I should because I'm God. It's just a fanciful idea. What if some of you crazy souls went down there and your unbridled, raw, wild, free self and bring this party down there? But here's the game. Who wants in? Everybody's going, ooh, 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 me, 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 me. Hello, Emily. So we decided to come down here. But we got to play the game right. You can't cheat. You can't go up a rung on the ladder, on Jacob's ladder, the spiritual ladder, the spiritual ladder, the spirit ritual ladder, the spiritual ladder, doing something over and over and over till it becomes a religion for you, religiously, to ever ascend back. So in this great descent, hello Shasha, in this great descent from the Godhead to the beautiful earth, many of us, not many of them, hear me carefully, this is an opportunity for you to have peace in this moment of your life about what's happening in this moment of your life in the world to a greater degree if you want more peace. We all descended together. The births begin to happen simultaneously because the soul fragmented itself. The highest aspect of the soul fragmented itself into me, you, them, we, him, her, so forth and so on. And it fell in different plots, different land structures, if you will, different time zones, if you will. But it all happened at once. So we all descended together. Some of us just got lost in the whirlpool. Your brother, who's trying to harm you today on this earth, when he was falling, you reached for his hand. You just couldn't get to him fast enough, metaphorically. And it tore your heart out of your chest because your brother was falling while you were descending. Feel me? Same attitude. You don't have to like it. You don't have to like that your brother in the descent fell. But it is your obligation as a spiritual warrior to administer grace. We all fall from grace. We all fall from grace. In our descent collectively, some of our dear precious brothers and sisters have lost their grip and got lost in the swirling and twirling of it all, got drunk, if you will, and they did the only thing they knew how to do, is to reach and grab everything, because before we all descended, we all had everything. So that's what they knew, is to regain what they think they had lost. Some of us, many of us, most of us, made it through the birth canal just fine. But remember, those souls that you wish to damn, whoever it may be, the people in the medical field, people in the governmental field, all this ridiculousness. If you are engaged in that field in the first place, there is no one else to blame but yourself. Hello, Link. If you are playing in this arena still, after however old you are, knowing the spiritual lessons that, make no doubt about it, are very much in force, of course, you will reap the fruit or the thorns of whatever bush you are planting. So God is granting you something. I understand being mad at Bill Gates. I understand being mad at Fauci. I understand being mad at 5G. I understand being mad at quarantine and corona, the Rona. I get it. You quarantine for a reason. Be the reason for the quarantine, so you can find yourself. So we can I don't know how anybody would want that world to come back. It was not working. That's why it fell. Babylon not only has fallen in the sense of the world that we just come from. It's fallen. That's never coming back. But the head of the serpent, Babylon, is dying. People are rising up. Strangely, ironically, beautifully, paradoxically. We're unifying, being separate. Continuing with the reading about the angels and the dark angels and what happened in the great fall from the divine principle. Welcome to Center of Light Grace, the great fall then and again. I asked Spirit, will you tell me about telepathy? You are all quite telepathic. Now, speaking to me, as you write this book, Keith, you have begun to recover this ability. Indeed, not only you, but everyone used to be in a conscious state of omniscience until the time when you left home. I said, what happened? Spirit says, telepathic amnesia was spread by those that fell from grace, the ones who became tainted at the time you all left the Godhead. These do-no-gooders, with their distorted light, with their distorted modus operandi, created mental blocks in an effort to obscure their selfishness. Basically, when they grab it and trying to hold on to what they remember, like people today, the great fall then and again meaning today, like people today are still grabbing and holding on to that old world. They don't want it to die. That's all they know. These do-no-gooders, gazillions of light years ago in the great fall, these do-no-gooders with their distorted modus operandi created mental blocks in an effort to obscure their selfishness. So universal law put their telepathy on hold, and as a fail-safe mechanism, the telepathy of those they affected as well. It was then fear's domino effect kicked in. Babylon's falling, causing everyone to tumble faster, harder, until mistrust reigned. Such a powerful blow you all took to your collective spiritual head that for eons after, those who came to earth could not remember their innate ability to communicate in this way. Eventually, to reach each other from this lowered state, people had no recourse but to turn to speech. But since human language is so limited, without telepathy, there was still much that could not be conveyed. People were thus put in a distrustful position, wondering what lay in another's mind that he or she could not or would not express. The suspicions that were subsequently raised had a profound effect on all and set the stage for what you now know as victimization. Wow! Hello, Thomas. And I say to God, this ought to be interesting. Spirit continues. Quite. It's time to put on your big boy, big girl pants, y'all. You're not going to like it. But I promise you, if you drink this cup of water and quench your thirst, you will no longer fall from grace. You will be in it. Hear this. Many people attach power to that V word, victimization, because they feel it justifies whatever mess they make for themselves. It has long been used to deny that they are the weavers of their own life's tapestry. But the concept of victimization does not, cannot, and will not ever exist. As far as I am concerned, any such claim plunges likely to the ground just as the tainted ones did in the Great Fall. Here is some good advice. Omit this word from your vocabulary and your mind. All right, y'all, here we go. I asked Spirit, what actually happens in a victimization scenario? He says, it is very simple. Two souls make an agreement to act something out on the earth plane. Let me illustrate. Hello, Tiffany. Here's an example. Late one night, a woman goes to the store to buy a few things. She decides to park her car in a dimly lit area. Why there when there was so many other options? And I say, I don't know why. Because she is carrying out her part of the agreement. When she is through shopping, she returns to her car where someone sneaks up behind her. A crime is committed. But is she a victim? And I say, she's a victim of that crime, isn't she? If she desires to manifest her godlike self, she does not claim to be one. Furthermore, if she were fully aware of her godlike self, she would not have been in that predicament in the first place. This event is her soul's effort to help her take responsibility for what happens to her while she resides on the earth. Follow me here, Keith. I say, okay. How many souls are there by her car? I say 2. The fact that both their bodies arrived at the moment they did shows that these 2 souls were only keeping their agreement. So in truth, there was no perpetrator, no victim, ergo, no crime, just the lesson. This is how it relates to falling from grace, the people in the outside noisy world that's trying to vaccinate us, 5G. So we get all that. We got to be done with all that to get back into grace and to quit stumbling every time we try to take a step. I remind you that just because one may not be aware of an agreement, it does not mean that he or she is not responsible for what takes place between him or her and others. In order for everyone to get to his or her own true power, they must transcend all blame and acknowledge that they can never be a victim of circumstance in anything. Let me say here that even though you yourself still have work to do, Keith, you have come a long way in understanding the truth about victimization, or should I say, no victimization, and have begun to see how putting this knowledge into practice can reverse the power dynamic within you, which changes the entire world. Babylon is falling. If we want to hasten its demise, we have to heal our own demon that has fallen from grace so that we can lift up even those bad people in the outside world that we're pointing finger at, because those are the ones that we need to lift up so this can all just simply go away. Mic drop. Boom. So since we all left the Godhead in a descent together, and some of us started to fall because they got lost in the tumble, it's not their fault, they just got lost in the tumble. How many times have you tumbled before you left the Godhead? You hadn't. Same kind of privilege and grace and forgiveness should be offered to all. Be mad if you're going to be mad. And when you're done being mad, stop being mad. Be glad. Be happy. Move into a place. Stop being crappy. And see this thing that's happening as a beautiful unfoldment. A beautiful unfoldment. Spirit says, you have all begun to see how putting this knowledge into practice can reverse the power dynamic within. And I say, thanks. It's so good to hear that I'm making progress, right? Spirit says, from now on, this is it. This is a global collective message for us right here, right now, written in 1997. From now on, when troublesome scenarios do show up, you will be better able to avoid feeling victimized by whatever happens. My hope for you indeed, not only for you, Keith, but for everyone, is that you will all lose any sense of victimization you may have and begin to live empowered lives. I am here for anyone who chooses to work through their deepest fears concerning me. I am here to help everyone who wants to make the shift from victim to God. Wow! And I said, wow! There's a lot of power in what you've just said. But there's another question floating around in my head that I just have to ask. Spirit says, go. I said, what about our court system and its laws? Aren't those based on victimization scenarios? Yes, they are. There are many people taking responsibility for the lives they lead. There are many others who cry victim and take their grievances to court, as if the courts are not filled with enough lawsuits for this and lawsuits for that. The entire system, this is where we are today. We have fallen from grace, all of us. The entire system is, this was 97, is almost at critical mass. And if the situation continues as it is, it will overload, short circuit, and ultimately collapse. We are all responsible. The whole thing will become inoperable, leaving divine law to rise out of the mayhem. Then people will have no choice but to take responsibility. Even though there will be many who do so, there will still be those who decide to be infuriated at the system that they believed in, went so far as to contribute to, and by whose dogma they have chosen to live. It hurts, doesn't it? Truth is not a salve, tincture, nor band-aid. It's a ball buster. It wants to give you something beyond what you could possibly imagine, because it loves you beyond a level you can't even possibly measure. And I say to Spirit, I guess I'm a hypocrite then, because even though I don't have a beef with the legal system many years ago, I've harbored resentment towards religion and government for a long time. But I'm working on it. And Spirit says, and that, my friend, is what I have been talking about, taking responsibility. But the fact is that even after reading or hearing what I have just imparted about your present legal, political system, many will still do the opposite, and they will fall from grace, and from grace they will fall very hard. Did many souls fall from grace long ago because they did the exact opposite of what you said? Spirit said, yes, be aware when you tumble in your descent. And they are the ones who actually believe that they can thwart my plan of heaven on earth. Today's tempters of Luciferian influence are counting on you to help them achieve their same futile goal. Though they may be few in numbers, the 1%, their influence is mighty. I am here to help each of you get back your power, but you must remember that those rebellious ones who now infiltrate the earth plane are destined for a great fall, and they would love to take everyone with them once more. The great fall then is no different than the great fall that's happening again right now in this win of a moment. And I ask Spirit, what do you mean when you say they? And why would they want to do such things? This is a question I'm sure we're all asking. We're all trying to ask this question. How do we forgive some of these people who are doing what they're doing? So who are these they? How you like that for a sentence? Who are these they? But that's actually grammatic English correct. I failed English 4 times and typing twice, but I had a phenomenal writing teacher, so this would be actually a correct sentence. Who are these they? They are the ones who have had only themselves in mind as they attempt to gain world power. They have no compunction about inundating the masses with their convoluted fictions. What you need to understand is not this is true and that's false and that's true. It's all convoluted. So how do you find something that is pure and not polluted? They are the ones that have only themselves in mind as they attempt to gain world power. They have no compunction about inundating the masses with their convoluted fictions because they want to convince you all to stay in line. Hello, Linda. I want to read that again. Listen to me very carefully. My tribe. I am not asking you to go out of your house and buck the current system by licking shopping carts and railings and pissing people off. You are on the earth, so you came here to play the game fairly. And you're playing the game fairly, you do so. All right? That being said, this was written in 1996 to 1998. This applies so powerfully right now. I ask Spirit, who are these of the Luciferian influence? They're the ones who actually believe that they could thwart my, listen very carefully, please, that they could thwart my plan of heaven on earth. Today's tempters of Luciferian influence are counting on you to help them achieve that same futile goal, that they may be few in numbers, 1%, but their influence is mighty. I am here to help each of you get back your power. But you must remember that those rebellious ones who now infiltrate the earth plane are destined for a great fall, and they would love to take everyone with them once more. Listen to this. Here we go. Why do they, who do you mean when you say they, and why would they do such things? The them, are the ones who have only themselves in mind as they attempt to gain world power. They have no compunction about inundating the masses with their convoluted fictions. Here we go. Because they want to convince all of you to stay in line. Stay inside. Stay in line. I went to Walmart 2 days ago with my son to buy these cool little lamps. There was nobody there. And they had this railing, these barricades. I understand the purpose. I understand it. I'm not trying to cheat the game. I want to play the game fairly. There was literally nobody there. My son and I approached the door, And all there was a piece of yellow ribbon tape. And there was this long railing that I had to go around. I'm not lazy. I don't mind walking. So I decided to go under the tape. No, sir, you can't do that. No. You have to go all the way around this barricade just to come back. When I could have just went under the tape and saved myself many steps. It was just a natural thing for me. One, I don't follow the rules, obviously. But I wasn't doing it for that reason. I was just going to take the shortest distance between 2 points and go to the tape. And I understand the worker is following the rules that were told to them because they have a job they want to keep, as they should. I get all that. What is this authoritarian figure that says we have to put the knuckle down so hard? I get it. The point is, this was the spiritual lesson in this particular segment of the divine principle. They want to convince you all to stay in line. Do not be so sure about that, because since your arrival on earth this time, you have been consuming what the... I'm going to skip through. There's a lot. So I'm going to try to find the key points. Here we go. Actually, I'm going to go back. Since Center of Light tonight is talking about Center of Light grace. The fall then, the great fall then and again. So we have to forgive those people that we're seeing out here doing all this stuff to give you a vaccination and trying to give you all this medicine and 5G and Rona, the big bad queen Rona. I get all that. I get it. That world is dead. You're protected when you walk upright. And I say to Spirit, are you telling me this is my karma? Let me give it to you straight, Keith, for I know the results of my words and what they will produce. I came to you specifically because you asked for my help with such heartfelt passion. It is not only your victim karma that needs to be resolved, it's everyone's. And one way you do that is to accept that those who play the control game are nothing but a reflection of you. Hello, Vicky. Hello, Bethany. Cal and Renando. And I say, so what's the object of their game? As it has always been, to keep you unempowered and dependent, to keep you believing that whatever they say is valid. What throws me for a loop is how so many of you still tend to place your bets on people like the ones who stopped so many others in their tracks that wanted to make a positive difference by elevating you. And I say, you are so right. We've been playing right into their hands because we still accept what they say and do, and we rarely question it. That has gotten a little old, hasn't it not, Keith? Yes, it sure has. Do you really think these few are interested in abandoning their want for power? Do you think they will humble themselves to the divine this time around? And I say, nope. It is likely they will not. They will never allow you to know all that they know because they are propelled by the love of power, not by the power of love. Why do you think this is so? I say, because that would level the playing field. How right you are, my friend. They are only willing to share the information that will let them reign for as long as they possibly can. But when the world finally transforms its fears of me into passion, then they will simply go away. All the knowledge your mind and heart can hold, I shall give you. When you abandon fear and use love as your gauge and destination, then all things beneficial will naturally come. Knowledge equals power, equals freedom, equals bliss. We can't miss it this time around, y'all. We can't miss it. Don't miss it. Center of light grace. We have all fallen. This is monumental of a teaching. Yes, I get pissed at the political field. I get pissed at the medical field. I get mad at chemtrails like everybody else. Not anymore. I don't do it so much. And in fact, every time I do it, I'm hastening its demise because I'm realizing it's wise to do so. And in doing so, I grow exponentially. I'm not mad at these people anymore. They're knuckleheads and they need to quit it. But that's okay. I'm always going to be okay. That's okay because I'm always going to be okay. Even in death, even in whatever, I'm always okay. That kind of confidence puts a shield around you. 5G, the Rona, and any other thing can't touch you. Your vibration is too high. Fallen from grace. When we all descended from the Godhead to come to earth, some of those souls, which is fragments of our own self, got lost in the tumbling of it all. And you felt for them then as to why you reached your hand to grab to your brethren or sister to help them, but you couldn't reach fast enough and they fell. And they look like those politicians. And they look like those other people that are causing what you call grief or victimization in your life and strife. And that's not what it is. If you're going to get mad, get mad. Spend a whole day or a whole week firing off your cap. Orgasm. Get yourself your angry orgasm on. And when you're done, you're done. Smoke your cigarette and take your nap. And when you wake up from your nap, you're done with it. But be done with it. And in so doing, not only do you lift yourself further into grace, you lift those as a byproduct that are causing the trouble in the first place. Let me ask you this question. Do you think it's just by chance or coincidence that Bill Gates is in such an amazing space of limelight? Even in his, what we would call quandary, folly, stupidity, evil, whatever word a person would choose to deem and judge a person by what they see. You want to rise out of the mayhem and into grace? Chew on this bubble gum. Here's a piece of bubble gum. Chew on this. You're not going to like it. You probably go, hell no, Keith, how you doing that? That's okay. If you're willing to jump off the cliff and into the ocean of grace, chew on this stick of gum. Is it possible people like Bill Gates, and I don't mean that as a derogatory or condescending, people like Bill Gates and those who are mirrors to ourselves love us all so much that when we all left the Godhead and things started to go awry and everybody started to take on their roles and their identities, and this is the role I'm going to play, said, you know what? I'm going to show up in this human transition as this person because I am going to be the quickest manifestation as a mirror to help everybody get so mad and frustrated and fed up, it's going to quicken the entire human ascension. Could a being love us so much? I'm not saying he's aware of it. I'm not saying he's aware of that role whatsoever. God is omnipresent all around you, and everything is showing us facets, and fragments of our own soul self. So maybe, just maybe, I don't have to like the guy. I don't have to trust the guy. That's his role. Animal activists will say, don't harm a coyote. You know what coyotes do? They're sly. They're quick. They're slick. They will steal and they will kill. They'll do whatever they can to get what they want. That's what coyotes do. But they are protected by animal activists. Strange analogy, but likewise. Is it possible that in such a strange way that we're being revealed these things beautifully? Because there's no other way that we would ever get the next level lesson until we see that which has been pressing upon us for a long time. So when this grand play, the earth stage, all the worlds of the stage, on the grand stage of earth, when this whole thing is over, all the actors, the heroes and the villains, walk on stage to the front of the stage, to the entire audience, the entire spectators, and in frivolity, they all bow and everybody claps. You don't separate the heroes from the villains. You enjoyed that awesome movie with Tom Cruise last night, didn't you? Likewise, when you see things from this perspective, it will give you peace. Dear Lord, I swear to you, you will find yourself in peace. Get out of the noise. It's just noise. It's just a vibration of noise. But I'm scared. It's okay to be scared. Now what? What are you going to do after you being scared? You're going to continue to be scared like a rabbit with your tail shaking, thinking that a big coyote is going to swallow you up? A coyote may swallow you up. If the sooner you acknowledge that to yourself, the sooner you will have peace. That I might be eaten on this journey. And if it does, I'm going to be eaten on this journey if it doesn't. Vaccines, mandatory, is not going to happen. Too many Texans, too many coon asses, too many Cajuns, too many rednecks, too many hillbillies, too many people in America. The sleeping giant would wake up and strike that knuckleheaded notion down. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Let's see what's happening in the room. Carmen Shasha says he has no soul. I hear you. I get your point. I hear your frustration. He has a soul, or he couldn't exist. And he looks like you. Sorry. I love you. I want that for you. I want you to come to that place. But that's up to you. But I do get your point. Calvin Ronaldo says www. is a monopoly. Yes, it is. The Bush administration knew this. Yes, I get it, guys. I get it. And I'm not trying to make myself sound better than any of you. That's not it at all. I am just resounding the spiritual principle I know to be the truth. And no matter how much we all want to buck that current, we get no raise. Buck the current, buck the currency. We don't get a raise. Our divine parent says, well, you've been such a good participant in the game of life. Let me give you $5 extra a month because your allowance has been coming. We don't get it. Simply, we don't get it. I don't write the laws. I break them. I don't break the laws. I break the rules. But the laws bind all of us. The law binds all of us. You can break rules. You can't break law. What we have in this world, when people fall from grace, then and again, is not law. You can't break law. Law is absolute, stable, and infinite. You can break rules. So what we call law enforcement on the earth, maybe we should call them rule enforcement, or just simply enforcement. The collective agreement of enforcement. You can't break law. You can break rules. So when our brethren, this, I didn't have any notes tonight other than what I read from the Divine Principle. I don't like it either. I want to kick certain people in their teeth, and right in their frickin' gonads, and rip their heart out their throat. I feel like that sometimes. And I forgive myself for it. And the next day, I have the same feeling. And I forgive myself for it. It does not absolve me from the truth and the law. And the law is those people that we call outside is a reflection of ourselves. And if you are truly wanting to have within your experience that center of light, grace, the great fall then, when all the angels fell, descended, and some of them went from descent to fall, as it's happening now. If you really want that level of peace, and to no longer fall, but descend as you ascend, point being, if you're tired of falling and tripping on yourself, it applies to all of us. There is no Bill Gates. There is no Fauci. There is no Trump. There is no Hillary. There is no this. There is no that. All there is the absolute truth, which is I exist. That's the next level where we're all going. Back into the grace if we choose it. Blame, shame, and game is part of Babylon that is dying. It's dying. Vaccinations will never happen. Boy, it was coming out strong, wasn't it? Fauci and Gates, with all that money, whoo, everybody was scared. That got blown to shit. It's not going to happen. So Babylon is falling. Do you want to continue to hold on to the Babylon falling? Or do you want to arise, wake up, engage your va with your na, your ya, and use your na to move into that experience? I'm learning this every day. Perfect in every way. The world is perfect in every way. It's always a beautiful lesson. And until we stop messing about, just if you don't like Bill Gates, Fauci, Trump, Hillary, coronavirus, chemtrails, don't engage. Look, I'm a conspiracy theory nut. I love playing. It's like, for me, some people like horror movies. That would be my entertainment of a horror movie reality show. I like conspiracy theory. I like digging. I might find some juicy nuggets. But am I really better off? One more short pause. We're going to come back with our closing segment. Center of Light Grace. Can you find it? I'm asking this question of myself. Can I find it within myself to be Christ-like? And forgive the two knuckleheads next to me that stole something. One says, if you were so powerful, take us down from here. And the other says, in the next world, remember me. Well, the next world is here. The prodigal son. Center of Light Grace. The fall. The great fall then and again. And I'm telling you, listen to me. What happened a gazillion light years ago? When we all descended and some of us began to tumble and came into a fanatic wobble and fell. They look like those people on the outside that are pissing you off. That time period, all those gazillions of light years ago, is actually the same event that's happening right here, right now. The same event. Our na, the mind, in its linear fashion, has run amok. What's happening now is the manifestation. Let me say it again. Many years of that arena, but specifically, what is happening now is the manifestation of when we all left the Godhead in a descent of those embodying themselves who actually fell. Hello, Kevin Briggs. So what you are seeing before you in the form of the cabal, the elite, the Illuminati, the 1%, however you want to be pissed off, vinegar mad, pissing contest because you're pissed off at the system. I get it. I live that dynamic. I'm done with it. But that fall from grace and the great fall, gazillions of light years away, is actually now still manifesting itself on the earth. In our forgiveness of ourselves, the whole world gets lifted. You, me, we get lifted in our forgiveness of ourselves. Because I feel guilty I couldn't grab my brother's hand or sister's hand when we all descended and they fell. And I couldn't get to them fast enough. And I feel bad about it. Is that not how it's playing it out? Absolutely it is. If I only would have did this sooner, if I only would have voted for this person or that person and not do that, maybe the world would not be in a situation that it's in. Maybe my family would not be in a situation that it's in. Maybe I would still be dating that person and not that person who did. It's all the same nonsense. The soul is trying to understand its higher self to its lowest capacity so it can have a full-blown expansion awakening. That's called the new earth. Welcome to the new earth. And your new world will never come into vision for you until you fall into the silence. Suddenly through the silence a new world will appear. We can get mad all we want. If you're going to get mad, get mad. Get really, really mad. And when you're done with it, shoot your wad, smoke your cigarette, eat some food, take your nap, wake up after your nap, and be fresh. I've been working on this. This is part of my quarantine, not lockdown, quarantine fall in. I'm not falling from grace. I'm descending into grace, ascending into grace, mending into grace. I'm not mad at Trump. I'm not mad at Hillary. She's a witch. I'm not mad at Bill Gates. He's evil. I'm not mad at Fauci. What a freaking nerd. I get all those labels. I get all that. I'm done with all that. Now I'm going to take care of me and my son. And when we all get out of this quarantine, strangely, beautifully, ironically, in our separation of quarantine, we found each other. That will hasten the demise of Babylon. In quarantine, separated from each other, we found each other. We found ourselves again. Carolyn says, even the weeds in a garden have a purpose. Lincoln says, they've only reigned for a very short time. We have reigned for an eternity. Kenny Lawrence, what's up, bud? Kenny says, what is your stance on Nisera? Kenny, I'm going to hang around until you answer this. I don't know what that term is. What is that word? Can you give it to a layman? What is Nisera? Nisera. What is Nisera? Kenny, let me see if Kenny's still here. Hello, everyone, to Center of Light. Darlene's still here. Hi, Darlene. Link, Carolyn, Renando, Kevin Briggs, Joe, Kim, Rhonda. Kenny's not here. At least I don't see. Does anybody know what Nesara is? Nesara. I don't know what that is. I'm going to send him a personal message. Everyone, thank you. I'm going to go inside, do a quick vessel. I can't believe this actually came over me.
Go where no man has gone before.
Long ago, very, very long ago, very long ago, actually just a second ago, something transpired. The universe began to move. When it's been still for, it's very tricky and tough to use a word to express to you words that can never describe such a cosmic reality of what you call how it happened. There is no how it happened. It's still happening. And that still happening is called you. As you continue to unfold into your fullest potential self, the great fall then is happening yet again because there is no rend. And now you find yourself on the mend. This is the game. It's now. In a sliver of time that is so small you can't comprehend, to a sliver of time that is so large you can't possibly comprehend. What's the difference between the two? There is none. The common denominator between the two is you can't possibly in this moment comprehend. Do you comprehend what's being offered? What is being proffered? There was a small idea that began to happen. As was said early in this presentation, a whim, if you will. Not a plan, not a grandstand, not this big, bold, boisterous idea. Just a simple whim. And from that simple whim begin a cosmic movement. When Spirit says cosmic, it's not talking about you looking with your eyes into the skies and seeing a celestial event and go, ooh, this is grandiose and big and vast. This is much more vast and amass so much more of yourself to ever understand this possibility that is greater than what you can grasp, to the infinite scale of the majesty, to the subtler layers. So in this very simple stir, other components of the collective consciousness, if you will, Godhead, 0 point, center point, there is nothing else. But as this swim began to reverberate within the Godhead system, within the fragments called all of you, all of us, we sort of like the idea. And so the whirlpool, if you will, it makes sense to you. You all done it in a swimming pool. You've created what you call whirlpools. One does it, it only has a certain amount of force. And of course, when the other enjoys the idea, and the other enjoys the idea, and the other enjoys the idea, and you all begin to spin in the same direction, you begun your descent down to earth. And some people can stand upright as they continue to walk around the wall of the swimming pool into the divine ocean. And some people lose their footing and they move into the event horizon and get sucked down into the vortex. This is what's happening. Do you understand? From the subtle to the gross, from the least to the most, from the parasite to the host. As things begin to move and begin to move, incarnations begin to happen. Then everyone saw themselves as separate from the other. Not all, most. But what is most important is you remember this descent, the grace, the great fall then and again. The great soul is playing itself out. It wants to know itself in all of its beautiful possibilities, even in what you call tragedy. Because of what you call tragedy that besets you is something so beautiful, maybe you're not only seeing it, but cannot possibly understand the garden that awaits you in the seeing of it. If you're going to be mad, and then be done with it. Many people have said to the vessel, they wish they could leave the country. They wish they can go off grid. You can't go off grid. There is no such thing as off grid. Wherever you go, you are still you. You may find solace away from what you call the normal world that you're so trying to escape. You will only delay your time of arrival. And to the garden gate is what you're truly wanting. You may have solace and peace on this island for the moment because you've made that choice to do so. And somewhat of a way, you put aside your dismay simply by this delay that you have taken upon yourself that you think will do you justice. There is no escape from yourself. You can dance around dog poop, if you will, all you want. But sometimes you get so lost in your dancing, you forget to look at your feet and where you're stepping. This is the dog shit world you found yourself in. How does it feel? How do you smell? Well, let me share this with you, dear ones. Everything is changing. As Keith has said earlier, Babylon is falling. It will quicken to fall. The next level you must face is finance. The next level you must face is finance. And it will not come from your banking system. It will come from your prosperity thinking and feeling and being and feeling as if you deserve abundance. That is your next lesson. There is no question about it. Within this, you are complete. Peace, love, and light. Stop tripping on yourself. I'm learning this myself. We all fall from grace. Forgive yourself no matter what the face looks like out here. Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, Hillary if you're mad at her, Bill Gates, Fauci. I get it. Screw all those people. They don't have your welfare in mind. So what do? We have our welfare in mind and in heart. And when we do that, the whole system of Babylon collapses. It simply collapses. It's collapsing now. No one is going to take the vaccine. No one. It's not going to happen. People will rise up and the sleeping giant will say, hello, Dora. I love you all beyond measure. It is my pleasure to be in this thing we call life. What is beyond this treasure? Nothing. They're letting us out soon. Florida's beaches supposedly open up today. Next week, the entire state of Texas is going to open. You are not confined by the 1%. If they are the 1%, are you alone in the collective? Are we not 99%? How can that ever stifle your voice? It's simply your choice. Babylon is falling, and it's happening faster than I ever saw coming. I'm glad. Stop fighting. Stop talking about coronavirus. Stop being pissed off at chemtrails. Stop being pissed off at 5G. I have a 5G tower literally 500 feet behind me. If I was to walk outside my door and hold up my camera on my phone and send you a picture, you would see this huge, majestic tower. It doesn't affect me. I don't care. I'm here to broadcast. So if it's working in my favor, then I'm in the space of grace. The great fall. We all fall. Pick up your brethren and your sister because you love them. That will hasten the demise of Babylon. The sooner we get out of all of this together. Link, bless you. Carolyn says, I see them naked. It reminds me of Marsha Brady on the Brady Bunch. Da, 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 da.